All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this training section where we're talking about if you are waiting for your corporation, right? Does that mean that you're going ahead and getting your corporation registered? Maybe you're waiting for the IRS, maybe you're waiting for the accountant, maybe you're waiting for something. Well, you want to make sure you're watching this because we have some very important information that you need to make sure that once your corporation is registered, there's some important documents that you need to save because you are going to need them in the upcoming. In addition to that, I want to go ahead and remind you, because we made this very, very clear, is the reason why we have gone ahead and designed this course in the way that we have, so that way you work on the corporation stuff earlier on, and so that way you can get this process started. But that does not mean that you just sit around and twiddle your thumbs. It means that you're getting this process started, and then in the background, you can be working on the rest of your business. We learned this after literally being in the trenches with thousands of students and helping many people go through this process, and we ourselves going through this process, and then hearing what some students were stuck with in the community. And then all of that is what made us make this decision to put the corporation training earlier in the program. In addition to that, I want to go ahead and make this clear. If you are getting an LLC, when you register your LLC with the IRS, okay, so first you go out and you register your LLC with the state, and then once you register your LLC with the state, you then go out and register your LLC with the IRS, okay? When you are registering it with the IRS, they are going to send you in the mail, they're going to send you something as an EIN registration letter, okay? Now, what this EIN registration letter is it tells you exactly what your business name is according to what is registered in the IRS's system, as well as what your EIN is, as well as what your mailing address and business address for the purposes of the IRS is as well, okay? Now, this is what I want to go ahead and make clear. That letter, that registration letter that they send you, you need to make sure that you keep it with you and you keep it safe, okay? Because you're going to need it later on in your business when we help you get set up with the business bank account, as well as, very importantly, when you submit an application to get a business phone number for business phone number text messaging. Now, this stuff might not make sense to you right now. Don't worry about it. It'll make sense once we actually get to that training and walk you through it A to Z, step by step. But the point is that I want to go ahead and remind you to keep that letter safe, because otherwise, later on, you are going to then have to go out and call the IRS and get that letter, and then they have to fax it to you, and then you got to find a fax machine, because who has fax machines nowadays? Or you got to wait for them to actually mail it to you, and you got to wait a bunch of time, and then all of a sudden really just spending and wasting all this time, right? So that's the reason why I'm going to tell you from the beginning right now, because in a couple trainings from now, you're going to be like, hey, you need this IRS letter, and you're going to be like, oh man, I lost the IRS letter. Make sure that you are keeping the IRS letter safe. That's number one, okay? And then number two, keep on going. You got to go ahead and get your business platform set up. We got to get your business website set up. We got to get your new client agreement set up. All of this you can do while you are waiting for this whole corporation stuff to happen. So there's no reason why you cannot immediately, right after this training section, jump directly into the next training and start building the rest of your business. I'm going to make this 1,000% clear. Do not wait for the corporation stuff to be complete before moving on. Work in the background. You want to make sure that you are keeping on moving forward. This is the difference between those who are the entrepreneurs and those who are the professional entrepreneurs. The professional entrepreneurs are not looking for an excuse to not have to work, right? They keep moving. They keep the momentum moving. Now, I'm not saying that you should just skip over this corporation stuff, because it's important, right? This is your business, this is your income, this is your future. We're not saying like, hey, do a half-done job. No. Do a good job in the corporation stuff, but don't wait for an excuse to actually continue moving through everything else, okay? So yes, this corporation legal stuff can sometimes be annoying, sometimes frustrating, but it's important, and it's important in business to make sure that you do right, but also not to use it as an excuse to not get other work done as well, okay? So make sure you do continue with the rest of the trainings, and just remember that this entire program was built as a community-based program. And so while you're also waiting for the corporation stuff to happen, and as you're going through the rest of the trainings, you want to make sure that you are working on your give to ask ratio. You are working on your relationship bank account. What does that mean? It means that, let's say, for example, you figure all this stuff out, and there's other people inside of the community who need help. The more you give when you do not need, so when you go out to ask, you actually have a bank account, you have an emergency fund that you can tap into. And you're only going to have that fund if you're investing in it ahead of time. And so we've said this many times before, there is no guru on the mountain. Everything that you are learning inside of this course is only because of the fact that we went out and learned it either from other community members, or we did something ourselves and then we went ahead and verified it with the community members. Everything just comes from the community. All we do with these courses every once in a while come in and just go ahead and update the course based off of what has worked with the community community over the last couple months. And so really, this course might even be outdated by the time you go through it. How do we know that? Because things in business are always changing. Things in business are always updating. And if you're waiting for us to go out and make these professional videos for you, well, guess what? These professional videos are only there to get you started. And then all of the latest cutting edge, up-to-date learning is happening inside of the community. And so if you are stuck, if you're in your head, if you're struggling, if you're not able to move forward, make sure that you are even being vulnerable in the community, right? It's okay, like post in there, because we are all a peer group. We're helping each other. And then if you're not getting comments on your post, if other people are not responding to your post, well, then the question would be like, hey, how many friends have you made inside of this program? If you don't have any friends and you're not able to tag anybody that you know personally, then you're not going to get comments. You're not going to get replies. You're not going to get answers to your questions. And that's why giving is so important, because the more you give, the more you're building that reciprocity, you're building those friendships, you're building those relationships. So that way, when you go to ask, you actually get responses back, right? But if you go and post and nobody answers your question and it's just crickets, it's probably because you haven't built any relationships. You don't have a relationship bank account that you can actually even pull from. And so that's why it's so important for you to understand this concept, especially as you are waiting for your corporation to happen in the background. You're going to continue to work. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you continue to move on to the next training. We have so much more to go ahead and get you set up with your business platform, your website. All of that exciting stuff is up and coming. So we will catch you immediately in the next training section.